Hey, One World Entertainment, Call of Duty is getting a movie, but now it's gonna have competition because Battlefield has just been announced to be in the works as a movie from Christopher McQuarrie and Michael B. Jordan are teaming up to do this adaptation. So let's have a look at the article because, as we know, or if you don't know, Battlefield 6 came out and is kicking the ever-loving bejesus out of the Call of Duty game. And it shouldn't be any surprise because COD has fallen apart. It truly has. But of course, they announced the COD movie. And now, Battlefield is coming out. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. So it says it looks like there may be dueling first-person shooter adaptations coming to theaters soon. Today, The Hollywood Reporter exclusively revealed that Christopher McQuarrie, director of the last 4 Mission Impossible films, will write, direct, and produce a Battlefield movie, with Michael B. Jordan also producing and possibly starring in the adaptation of the popular EA video game series. EA will also produce the film. Now, the first thing with that you kind of get a bit weary about is the studio, the EA being involved. Obviously, they make the games and stuff, but when they get involved, usually when the game studio gets involved with the movie adaptation, it tends to go a little wrong. So, you don't know about that. And EA at the moment is a bit of a joke as well. So, the Battlefield movie isn't a done deal yet, however, as much like the Judge Dredd movie with Taika Waititi set to direct. Good God, I forgot about that. This is a package that's being pitched to various Hollywood studios and streaming services, so it's not guaranteed to happen. That being said, it's much more likely that someone will take McQuarrie up on his Battlefield movie than it is that the Judge Dredd film will find a studio, with potential buyers said to be marshalling their interest. THR mentions Apple and Sony as potential buyers for the Battlefield movie and says there will be more meetings today. It's interesting that the two main ones seem to be Apple and Sony. So Netflix may be left out of those meetings, however, or simply chose not to take one because a theatrical release is being sought. Now, keep that in mind. They've just said Netflix may not be involved with these because they want a guarantee that it'll be on the big screen. What does that say to Hollywood, who's trying to block the Paramount Warner Brothers deal for the Netflix deal instead, where they literally are saying, oh, we're not going to take a meeting about a movie if you just want it on the big screen. That's ridiculous. So the Battlefield movie package is also believed to be expensive, considering the studio will be buying not only the movie and the labour of everyone working on it, but also the rights to adapt the games. It's also expected that the studios will bid on the package given the high interest in making the film, though THR is unsure when that will begin. Whether or not Michael B. Jordan will star in the Battlefield movie is dependent on several factors, though they are not named. Jordan just won a Best Actor Oscar for his starring role in Ryan Coogler's Sinner, so his asking price is likely gone up. Battlefield is not the only military-centered video game being adapted for the big screen. A Call of Duty movie is also in development. Taylor Sheridan will write the Call of Duty movie with Peter Berg directing. This one is on solid ground, as it's already at Paramount, which has a deal with Sheridan that expires in 2028. Sheridan has produced numerous shows for Paramount Plus, including Yellowstone and its spin-offs, Tulsa King, Mayor of Kingstown, and Landman. The Call of Duty movie is scheduled to hit theaters on June 30th, 2028. By the way, when I said Yellowstone and its spin-offs and then named those other things, Tulsa King, Mayor of Kingstown, so that's not those. It's just the way that's worded. It seems like it's naming them as the Yellowstone spin-offs. The one question I have, though, for both of these projects, really, I had it with the Call of Duty one, and now I have it for the Battlefield. Which version of the game would you be adapting? Are you going to the World War stuff, or are you going to the more modern stuff? It's the same question with the Call of Duty movie, but it's also a question that I think has to be in here. So this continues anyway, saying, as it hasn't been picked up yet, there's no word on when the Battlefield movie will be released, or even when production will start. But unless it's filmed at super speed, it likely won't get theaters before Call of Duty. Both series began as World War II games that put players in the trenches alongside the Allies before shifting to modern military settings, and the franchises are often seen as direct competitors. Considering this, it would be assumed if the films are released in the same year, recreating those old showdowns between movies with similar hooks like Volcano and Dante's Peak, or Armageddon and Deep Impact. So if the Battlefield movie is as sought after as The Hollywood Reporter says it is, and with video game adaptations growing in popularity, it likely is. We may know a lot more about it soon, including whether it will be set in World War II or modern times. I like that this article brings this up as well. It's like the time setting. Would it be the World War setting? Would it be the modern setting? Or what would they do with it? It is interesting that they are comparing the two games going head to head on the big screen, like Volcano did with Dante's Peak and Armageddon did with Deep Impact and such and so. Of course, this year we're going to have, next month, Mortal Kombat 2, and then in October you'll have Street Fighter, even though that's not quite going head to head, being that they're so far apart, but you've got two of the biggest fighting games in the world adapted into the movies going in the same year. So that's kind of what they're talking about here. By the way, Dante's Peak kicked the shit out of Volcano, and Armageddon bet Deep Impact. But overall, it doesn't seem like this movie may get the theatrical release, although they are very much pushing for it, which could be why this movie falls apart. It could be that because they are hell-bent on, no, we want big screen, and Netflix or Apple are the only ones that, well, maybe not Netflix, but Apple, maybe or Amazon come in and say, we'll take you, but the condition is we're not putting it on the big screen, we want it exclusive for the streaming. That's where you kind of have to start saying, do they cave and say fine, or do they stick to their guns, no pun intended, and say, no, we want big screen. It's big screen or no deal. That's a big question to be asked. What do they do if they're not given guarantees for a big screen release? At this stage as well, if they're shopping it around, what do they do if Paramount come forward and say, we'll take you? Do they accept that, knowing that Paramount are doing the Call of Duty movie as well? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this one. Let's keep our eyes and ears open. But what do you guys think about a Battlefield movie potentially being in the works as well? Would you prefer to see it on the big screen, or would you care if it just went straight to streaming? And do you think it will be a battle on the big screen between Battlefield and Call of Duty? Let us know what you think about all of this. And with that, shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers! I'll catch you in the next one.